welcome back. Tonight I'm going to be doing a special video. We are going to be doing kind of my nightly routine as a psychic, as a person. I always feel like it's weird saying things as a psychic as if I do it differently than anyone else. But tonight I'm kind of showing you guys my spiritual nightly routine. And this is something that I've kind of developed over the last year or so, especially throughout my Saturn return and kind of setting the intention that I'm going to take a little bit more care of myself. And what I have found is that it has made me way more psychic, way more spiritual, and it's kind of crazy the effects that it has had in my life. And so the reason why I'm sharing it is because I really think that we all need to establish a routine of prioritizing our spirituality or our psychic ability. But I've said this before in some of my other videos, and I really think that the key to growing your psychic ability is practice. I mean, we all know this. Practice, practice, practice. It is a psychic muscle, and the more you strengthen it, the more you work out that muscle, the stronger it becomes. But what I have found is instead of doing like long exercises and kind of spacing out the time in between, I have found that, I mean, and those are great too, like I think you should do this on top of that. But what I have found is that it is almost better for me personally to do daily psychic practices. And I found that I've, again, become more psychic. I've also become more spiritual, more connected to my guides. And I have just found that it is now an essential piece to my night, my day. And I just want to share what I do so that you guys could get some inspiration and maybe just even become aware of your own routine and if it is suiting your psychic ability or not. And another reason why I did this was I watched another kind of a psychic here on YouTube. I watched her morning routine video, and it was very helpful for me to see her go through it because, you know, I didn't obviously take like half of the things that she did, but it kind of made me realize, wow, I don't really have a routine. And I think if you're afraid of the word routine, I'm going to get to that in a second because I do not do this religiously by any means. I am definitely not consistent, but I felt like I needed to see that. And so maybe, you know, pieces of this video will inspire some of you to kind of adopt some new practices even into your nightly routine, your spiritual routine, you know, and it doesn't matter if it's night or day, really it's whenever it works best for you. But I just want to set expectations that I am not perfect. I do not do this every night. And that is one thing that I feel like I wish more vloggers would be a little bit more transparent about. They kind of like make it look like, oh, this is what I do every single night. And this, no. Some nights I do like a couple chunks of these. Some nights I do other chunks of these. My purpose here is to kind of just show you all of it, like my most ideal nighttime routine if everything was perfect. But I don't do this every night. Sometimes I don't do it at all because, you know, there's a new Netflix show on and I'm just obsessed and I'm just gonna binge it way too late into the night, and you know how that goes. Other nights too, I'm obviously doing like a live night, or other nights I kind of prioritize some time with like my husband. So again, this is not every night. But I have found that the more I've put into trying to just attempt to do it, the more habitual it's becoming. And I bet you a year from now, it's going to look completely different. And maybe it is that I'll be even more consistent than I am now. Maybe not, who knows? All right, so with those disclaimers out of the way, let's get into it. So where I consider my night starting, this is when I'm putting my son to sleep. And if you are a fellow parent out there, you know that those final hours of the night are like your precious golden hours where you can still be yourself. You don't have to worry about your kids. I mean, all of last year, which was basically when my son was like 1 year old, this was 2021, I would stay up for hours and hours and hours, and I would not get any sleep. A lot of times I would just watch TV, and then I would feel like, man, I didn't really do anything for me last night. That was like a big struggle through my Saturn return. I mean, if I wasted those 2 or 3 precious hours, like I started to realize that it was affecting my mental health, my physical health, everything. And I will say 2 or 3 hours at the end of the night does not sound like much, but when you spend it mindfully, it can feel like hours and hours and hours. So I start by putting my son to bed. Sometimes my husband does this, but we read a book. We do kind of his little nightly routine, and he falls asleep just like that. He's fantastic. We hardly ever have problems with him. I'm thankful that I had a kid for giving me a routine because I did not have one before. And I will say by this point, I'm already fasting. And this is something, again, that I do not do every time. And basically what I do just on a daily basis as much as I can is I stop eating after 7 o'clock and I don't eat again in the morning until 9. And that's really not a long time. You're just basically capping yourself off at a certain hour so that you can give your body time to digest the food that you ate, but then also burn the fat from your body. And that only happens after so many hours. For a while, it just burns the food in your belly, but after a certain amount of time, it starts to burn the actual fat that's on yourself. That's how you lose weight. Not that it's all about weight loss, but I like to be around a certain weight. It makes me feel comfortable. It makes me feel confident. I fit into my clothes. I can't always afford to buy new clothes, so like it's all practicality thing as well. And the bigger thing here is that it stopped me from binge eating and drinking before bed, and that was something that I used to do a lot as well. And then it was really hard for me to fall asleep because my stomach was just killing me. And I use this app called Fastic. You can download it, and basically all it does is just track. It does a lot, but I basically just use it to track my hours, keep myself motivated, and just remind myself when I can eat if I go a little bit later one night or if I start a bit earlier another night. After my son goes to bed, this is usually when I'm spending time doing something that excites me, that lights me up, that is non-work related. I get very tempted to finish up some work, finish up work that I didn't finish that day, but I really try hard to do something that really gets me excited. So it really changes depending on like what I'm into, what I'm excited about. So like a couple months ago, I was reading about Greek mythology, and so I would pull out some Greek mythology books or open my computer or get on my phone and like watch a bunch of videos and just kind of learn and research, take notes. These last couple nights, Disney Plus actually came out with a drawing series where you can draw along, and I used to love drawing as a kid, so I've been doing that the last couple nights and drawing some pretty cool drawings in my sketchbook, and I'm pretty proud of it. There's been times where I've gotten into watercolor, and so maybe I'll pull out some watercolors for the night. I've also been doing my Sabbath videos, right? And so like if I'm researching for this upcoming Sabbath, I might leave some time right there to read some of those books, you know, learn about the Sabbaths coming up, prepare for them, whatever it is. A couple months before that, I was actually like planning out my garden and researching seeds and, you know, when I was gonna plant them. So really, this part looks different every single night, but I usually leave some space just to do something fun for me that I enjoy. Maybe, heck, it might even be playing some video games for a bit. I'm trying really hard not to beat myself up over indulging myself in having fun during this time. If I've had like a long day of readings or I've just finished a live night, usually I will drink hot water with some lemon. It's just good for my throat, especially after talking for so long. If it's a full moon, I might come out here to my shed and kind of do like a little ritual out here, and that kind of will take up a chunk of time. Maybe I'll light some candles, do some journaling, pull some tarot cards. If I'm not doing something as big, I might just be reading my Moonology diary just to kind of get a sense of like what's coming up, how I can work with the phases of the moon, and just kind of thinking about what I want to manifest. I think one of the biggest things that I have found helpful is listening to ambient music for the mood that I want to create. I used to sit in silence a lot, and I actually first started doing this during work hours where I would play kind of like upbeat coffee jazz music, and that was super helpful. I wanted to relax a little bit. It kind of helped with my anxiety. And so the same goes for nighttime. And sometimes I will turn on like music, sometimes I will turn on some more like mystical, magical things, especially if I am doing like any sort of intuitive work, like ritual work. Other times I'll just turn on like thunderstorm music or rain music, and I just find things on YouTube, and I have a whole playlist of my favorites saved that I actually have shared on this channel, so I will link it down below if you're curious of like what I listen to, just for some examples. The same thing goes for like my morning as well. Like I will turn on my Alexa in the morning and ask her to play a certain playlist that really gets me like upbeat and happy and kind of going, but not like too intense, you know what I mean? Like I'm still waking up. And I have found that setting that ritual has been helpful because when I need a certain mood, when I'm in a mood that I don't want to be in and I want to switch, all I do is go and turn on some music, and it's been incredibly helpful to transitioning me more into a space emotionally that I want to be in. Now, I will say that if I am watching some form of TV during this time, instead of like, you know, doing something that really like gets me excited and happy or something that I'm interested in, usually I try to watch something a little bit more low-key, a little bit more familiar. There's some things that you can watch that you've seen it, it's familiar, you know nothing intense is gonna happen, and like shows like that for me are like K-dramas, The Office, Parks and Rec. It's funny, it's light, you could even potentially fall asleep to it. Like you're not gonna sit there and get glued to it and not be able to stop. Well, I think a lot of us could argue we could just binge all of those shows, but usually I try to still keep it light, or at least put like a minimum on it for myself. Like I will say Terrace House used to be my absolute favorite to watch before the pandemic happened. It was so low key, everything was in Japanese, and so I was like learning about Japan and how people like live over there, and it was like my favorite show to take a bath with. Now, I actually canceled a lot of my TV subscriptions a while ago. Really, we only have Disney Plus for my son, and I will get Netflix every now and then, or kind of re-up something depending on like if there's a certain show I really want to watch. But I found that when I paid for it, I felt like I had to watch it, and there was a lot of shows that I was just about. I didn't really need to watch it. And my husband and I both noticed that a lot of times we would watch too much TV, and we said we should stop watching TV, and we couldn't, and we didn't. And then I realized, you know what, the best way might just be to like cut out our subscriptions, and we've done that, and it's been so much easier to not watch TV ever since. And usually around this time, I put an app block on my phone. Some nights I'm better at this than others because a lot of the app blocks like make you manually do it, so I forget. But you can like pay for upgraded versions that will turn certain apps off on a schedule. And I think I just used this app called App Block, and I tell it which apps that, you know, I'm addicted to, that like I don't want like to use these anymore for the rest of the night. And so then every time you try to click on that app, it actually boots you out of it and doesn't let you open it. And I realized how much I will click on those stupid apps out of like, what is the word? Muscle memory. Like I'm not even aware that I'm going to that app, and then I get this like app block and I'm like, oh, what am I doing? How did I get on Instagram? Like I wasn't trying to do that. But the app block has been key for me to just sticking to a routine and not staying up on TikTok all night long, which I have stayed up on TikTok very late into the night sometimes, and it's bad. I also use a blue light filter. So they say that a lot of times before bed, like you need time to not have blue light. This is like blue light that comes from the sun, which I know doesn't seem right, but that's technically blue light. And so when your body is exposed to blue light, it still thinks it's daytime, and it has a really hard time shutting down. So like if you can set all of your devices to like a night mode, a blue light filter will basically take out all the blue light and kind of make everything like a reddish orange. So at a certain time of the night, my phone will turn on to this kind of like orange, so that if I am looking at it, I'm kind of reducing that amount of blue light coming in. Now, probably about an hour or so before I want to go to bed, this is when I usually take a bath or a shower if I need one. I don't do this every night, obviously, But you know, if it's shower day, then I will get in the shower. So usually I shut off the lights because it kind of, again, brings the mood down, kind of calms me down. If I'm taking a bath, I use a little tray that kind of fits on top of the bath. It can hold like a drink, it can hold a book, and several other things. And if I'm really going all out, I'll have like bath bombs. Sometimes I will get Epsom salts. My favorite one is the pink Himalayan salt. The smell of that is just amazing. I also recently put a Bluetooth speaker that is waterproof in like my wish list, and somebody in my family bought it for me for Christmas. And I absolutely love listening to this in the shower. It's got a little suction cup, and then I can hook up my phone, which is obviously not in the shower, and listen to rainforest sounds. I can listen to music. I can listen to a podcast. Another thing that I've done that I recently saw on TikTok was I saw that a bunch of people were hanging eucalyptus leaves in their shower, and it kind of gets wet and it puts off an aroma, and oh my gosh, it's magical. I've had a hard time finding eucalyptus, but if you go to like your local flower shop, you might be able to find some. But if you can't find that, there's also kind of like little aroma bath like things that you can set in the corner of your bath to really make it like smell extra good. And I really look at baths and showers as just like a huge energy reset for myself. I think this is a Pisces thing, but I just love getting in the water to reset, to kind of just drain the ickiness of the day off of me. And I've done this since as long as I can remember, of just imagining the water rushing off my body and kind of taking away all the negativity from the day. Same with the bath. As I drain the bath, you know, I imagine the negativity going away for the day. So like, I've always seen taking baths and showers as a very spiritual thing. So making it a part of like my spiritual nighttime routine was just a no-brainer. I'm really forced to only be with my thoughts. And that is where I do a lot of my thinking. Like if I'm really struggling with something, or if I'm like, I don't know, like having problems with a relationship and I just need to like face those emotions, or if I'm really sad about something, like I really take that opportunity to just not fight my emotions, go with the flow, and just kind of talk to my guides while I'm in the shower and be like, what's going on? What do I do? How do I deal with this? And I get insight and info in the shower. And I think that's, again, because I'm forced to be by myself, not on my phone. And then we're about an hour from bedtime, and that is when I actually head to the bedroom. And I realized I needed to get in there about an hour before I actually need to go to sleep, because the amount of stuff that I like to do before I go to bed is just too much. So this is the part of the night where I'm actually setting aside some time to do some spiritual work. This might be a follow-up of like whatever I was going through in the shower. I come out and I journal about it and pull some cards. And basically I allow this time for me to connect with my guides in whatever way feels most comfortable. Again, there's no like rigidness to this at all. So sometimes I will do a meditation and I'll make sure that all the lights are on so I'm not like falling asleep. Sometimes I will just pull a bunch of tarot cards and journal about them, and maybe like get help with whatever's going on in my life that's like stressing me out. I might automatic write to just get some insight to things. I might pull out my Moonology book, kind of get a sense of like what's going on, what's coming up. I've been kind of keeping track of like what's going on at certain moon phases, just to kind of see how the moon impacts my life, if at all. I might also use this time to watch other psychics do like pick a card readings or do like future projections. And I actually am a patron to another psychic here on YouTube, and I really like her pick a card reading, so much so that I found that it was way more worth my time to pay for that than some of the other subscriptions I was paying for, like again, TV, Netflix. And so I got rid of Netflix and I started to prioritize her Patreon service. And I felt like it was, one, helping me out so much more as a psychic and as a person and just what was going on in my life than Netflix ever was. So to me, this was just an obvious like switch. I kind of make space to just do anything that engages my psychic mind. Even if I'm not doing it myself, maybe I'm researching about it, maybe I'm listening to somebody else give a reading. And that is kind of this part of my day where I'm making sure I'm always doing something, even if it's something little, even if it's only for 5 minutes, I'm doing something spiritual, psychic related. And really, I think that this is also just me processing my thoughts, because there's nothing worse than like trying to fall asleep and you decide, oh, now is the time to process all of those stresses that happen throughout the day. No, I've already processed it in the shower, I've journaled about it, so now I can tell my brain, no more anxiety. We've already thought about it all. There's nothing more to think about. Then this is the part of the night where I set down my phone, I charge it. I'm pretty good about not touching it after that, so I just keep it on my bedside table. Obviously I have my baby monitor next to me, so my son, if there's anything wrong with him, I can hear him and I can wake up and go get him. And then I have to read a book. I have found that I really need to read something, especially like I really prefer fiction before bed, because it gets my imagination flowing. And there's something about being in a more imaginative state that helps me fall asleep versus if I'm reading like a how-to book right before bed. I still will need like more time to decompress if I'm doing that. And I really think that this is because when we are drifting off into sleep and we are going into like a dreaming state, our dreaming state is intuitive, it's imaginative. And so I like to get a head start on that. And I think it helps me have more dreams. I think it helps me fall asleep faster. And to me, it's the only time I can actually read any books, honestly. It's the only part of my day that I can get books read, and there is list upon list of books that I want to read. So this is like my small window of time that I get to read. And I probably read for about 30 minutes, I would say. And then I put the book down. And then the very last thing I do before I fall asleep is I listen to a meditation track. Usually this is around 11 o'clock when I want to be going to bed. Sometimes I will just play like kind of rain or cricket noises, and my husband is cool with that, so I can play it out loud for the both of us. If it's sitting out and just playing a looped audio track, I'll usually set a timer on it for it to finish like an hour or two after I start it. Usually I do just about an hour. And I absolutely love this app called Calm. I've been using it for years. This is not like an ad at all. And so they have sleep stories, they have guided meditations, they have like series where every night you kind of get a little bit more of a piece of a meditation. They have so many things. My favorite meditation on there, which is free, you can get it on the free version, is the grand plan to rise and shine. It's like my favorite one. I love falling asleep to that one. You just got to download the app and check it out. I used it so much and I was so tired of the free ones. I'd use them all up and listen to them time after time that I finally just paid for the main version, and I absolutely love it. And I usually fall asleep so much more calm, so much more relaxed. I might wake up to like take my earbuds out and kind of throw them over the bed, but usually it doesn't disrupt my sleep at all. And on the nights that I do this, I wake up feeling like I got enough sleep. I usually wake up with enough time to get some things done before my son even wakes up. And I usually don't need coffee on those mornings as well. And I'm just way more prepared to conquer my day, do the readings that I gotta do because I took care of my body before bed, I got enough sleep, I decompressed emotionally from the previous day. And I have found that this has helped me become such a better psychic because I'm taking care of myself. It's that healthy psychic part that we always talk about in my courses. And if you don't prioritize that, if you don't make it a habit, it's just not going to happen. And so I have enough readings now and I have enough responsibilities that I have to prioritize it and make it happen. Again, though, like this isn't rigid. This isn't like military style. Like I'd still screw up a lot of the nights, but that's okay. So I hope this video has made you sleepy and ready for bed. Or at least made you want to kind of adjust your nighttime routine. Again, this was less about like, ooh, what pajamas does Lauren wear? Because my pajamas are not cool at all. It's more about prioritizing a time of the day to allow some spiritual work. And I again have found that I'm just more connected with my guides because I'm putting in a daily effort to talk to them, to do something with them. And then it makes me a better psychic because I'm well rested, you know, all that good stuff. And so if you find that you are struggling with your psychic ability, if you find that you're struggling to even approach intuitive work because life is so stressful, I highly encourage you to get into a routine. And again, this could be a morning routine, this could be a midday routine, it's whenever you want it to be. I've really found that a lot of people that I coach, or a lot of people that come to my videos and leave comments, they struggle because they're not getting enough practice in, and they really feel like they have to sit and do these big old things, take a lot of time, or maybe go out and read people in person. But really, your psychic ability is just like any other habit that you want to set. And if you want to make a habit permanent, you have to force yourself to do just a little bit of something every single day. And that's really the key here. And I think it takes like, I can't remember how many days, I want to say it's like 15 or I don't know, 3 weeks or something like that before the habit actually sticks. But even then, if you fall off the wagon, like, it's okay. And that's a lot of the other complaints that I hear is like, oh, I was doing really good, and then this happened, and now I haven't been able to give my psychic ability like a moments of a thought. And that's okay. Like, just jump back into it. And that is the biggest thing that I've learned with all of this is there's some nights where I don't fast. There's some nights where I don't do the meditations. There's some nights where I totally skip doing any sort of intuitive work. But the key here is to have an idea of what you want to do and really prioritize it in your day, and you will find that you will become more psychic over time. If you really want to strengthen that ability, if you really want it to be strong and honed, I highly encourage you to make psychic work a daily part of your practice. Alrighty, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought of this video, if you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. I've been trying to make a lot more videos that I actually enjoy making, even if the analytics on my YouTube channel say that they're not good enough. So please let me know if you're enjoying these types of videos. I'm trying to do more vlog style content, give you more B-roll, just a little side update on the channel. And remember too to subscribe to my Patreon if you want to see additional content. I'm doing a lot more stuff over there. Alrighty, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm off to bed. Good night.